Colin Beck kicked out his leg. "Get away," he grunted. "Vermin." Hal frowned at his dad, tearing the crust from his half-eaten ham sandwich and ducking under the table to toss it to the startled-eyed birds. The pigeons grabbed the finger of bread and began a tug-of-war. A pair of trainers, charcoal suede with 3 white stripes, stopped beside the table. Hal saw chestnut herringbone trousers with a crisp vertical crease. It could only be one person. Mum's metal chair scraped against the concrete floor as she got up. "Nat!" she cried, waddling around the table and throwing her arms around her older brother. "Careful, Bev! You'll knock me over." Uncle Nat put down his battered leather suitcase and umbrella, hugging her. "How are you, pet? Are you well?" "Yes," Mum replied, her eyes darting to Hal. "I'm fine." "Nathaniel! Good to see you." Dad was on his feet, grabbing Uncle Nat's hand and shaking it. "We appreciate you doing this. We really do." Hal's eyes flicked from his uncle to his father. Uncle Nat was composed of straight lines. He was thin, with neatly trimmed straight hair, and wore thick-framed tortoiseshell glasses. His crumpet-coloured raincoat and mustard sweater went perfectly with his trousers and shoes. By contrast, Dad was a jumble of circles. His kind round face reached up to a receding bowl of salt-and-pepper hair crowned with a bald patch. His shoulders rolled forward, and his navy plaid shirt was tucked into his brown-belted chinos, underlining his overhanging belly. Uncle Nat turned to Hal, his eyes twinkling. "It's about time I got to know my nephew better." He offered Hal his hand. "You've grown since Christmas, Harrison. Are you excited about our steam-powered adventure?" Hal shook his uncle's hand and nodded, but he wasn't going to say yes, because that would be a lie. A journey all the way to Scotland and back on the slowest train in the world with his weird uncle was not what he called an adventure. "Are you sure you're all right with Hal coming with you?" Mum said, picking up Hal's rucksack and slipping it onto his shoulders. "I've told him to give you space when you need to work." Uncle Nat was a travel writer. He'd agreed to bring Hal along with him on a work trip while Beverly Beck went into hospital to have the baby. "Absolutely. Don't worry about us." Uncle Nat placed a careful hand on his sister's bump. "You concentrate on bringing this baby out into the world safely. I expect all 3 of you to be at Paddington Station to meet us on our return in 4 days." "Yes!" Hal nodded furiously. His mouth moved, but no other words came out. "I'm going to be all right, Hal," his mum said softly. She bent down, putting her hand to his cheek. "You mustn't worry. Your dad'll look after me." She undid the silver chain that hung around her neck. "Here, take Grandad's St. Christopher for good luck. The patron saint of travellers will keep you safe on your journey." Hal gripped the silver coin between his thumb and forefinger. He felt the engraving of St. Christopher, staff in hand, child on shoulders. "But what if you need it? You can give it back to me when you get home." She did the necklace up and then fussed with his anorak, pulling out the hood where it had gathered under his rucksack. She ran the tips of her fingers through his ash-blonde hair. "You'll be a good boy for your uncle, won't you?" "Yes, Mum." "What route is the Highland Falcon taking, Nathaniel?" his dad asked. "We'll be travelling up the east coast to Balmoral, where we'll stop for lunch tomorrow, before looping round Scotland and back down the west."